For the final time this season, it's the Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks as we get you set for this matinee matchup on a long weekend, Easter weekend. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola with you. YouTube Trev holding things down back at ESTHQ. We've got Jonathan Davis coming up shortly, as well as Joaquin Gage as we get you set for the Oilers and the Kings. Edmonton 44-23-4. The Ducks, I said the Kings, my goodness. The Ducks 24-45-4. I think I made a great time, Trev, from local Jasper Avenue to my place. Joaquin's already here. He's good to go. JD will be joining us shortly. I could see he's ready to go. I think all things considered, I did a good job of getting from local, breaking down the whole setup there, getting over here, being ready to go, changing the outfit. Give me some props, brother.
Yeah, I am honestly pretty impressed with you, Tommy. It was we're on a tight schedule here today, and I was expecting a little bit longer, but no, you pushed through it. Let's go. This is awesome. Great timing, Tommy.
Oh, thank you. Text us 780-218-9999, and then you can get in on the nasty chat. I see the nasty chat going strong. Smash the thumbs up button if you don't mind. We appreciate that so very, very much as we get you set for the Oilers and the Ducks. Yes, the Oilers did defeat the Kings a couple of days ago. A nice 4-1 victory there. Anaheim struggling 1-8-1 in its last 10. No bueno, as we like to say. So we will get you set. And JD will give us the scoop on those Anaheim Ducks. If you don't follow Jonathan Davis, West Coast Hockey on X, host of the Ice Cap on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. He also does the Show Me the Money Hockey Betting Pod. And then, the guy watches 450 NHL, WHL, USHL, NCAA, AJHL, BCHL games every week. So he is all over it. And we'll get JD on in a minute as we get you set for the Oilers and the Ducks right here on the Oil Stream pregame show. All right. I should add, too, that portions of this hour brought to you by our good friends at 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Yukon Jack and Scott McCord every weekday on the morning show. And then, of course, tune in to Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. I see JD is, I think he's set up and ready to go. Let's go. JD, give me a thumbs up. Are you ready to go? Yeah, he's good to go. Let's bring in Jonathan Davis from SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. JD, what's going on, man? See, I always tease like all the TVs and the screens and monitors that you set up, and there you have it behind you. Are we both watching the Red Wings Panthers game here?
We are watching the Red Wings and Panthers game. Yes, we are. Alex Lyon revenge game.
Ah, yes, the Alex Lyon revenge game. I like that. 1-0 Detroit leads Florida. 10 minutes left in the third period. What do you think of this race in the Eastern Conference? I know we're going to talk about the Oilers and the Ducks, but the way the Caps and the Red Wings are kind of duking it out for that last wild card spot, who do you think gets it?
Well, after Thursday night, I'm not sure anybody wants it. I mean, they all blew their opportunities. It's hard for me to get behind this Washington team, that's got the minus gazillion goal differential. It is remarkable what they're doing. You're watching the Red Wings today. I'm shocked that they were in a 1-0 game. Full marks to them for being able to do that. I think Detroit's the best team. I'd like to see Detroit of all of the teams that are battling it out.
Yep.
Just because of what that roster looks like. So for me, I hope it's Detroit. I don't know if it'll be Detroit, but I'd sure like it to be Detroit.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you because, they've had a bunch of rough seasons, and now it looks like all the fruits of Steve Yzerman's labor are starting to blossom, and maybe they'll get in there, but time will tell. We're in the final push of the stretch drive, JD. Let's shift the focus back over to the Western Conference. I know we're going to talk Oilers and Ducks, but it was Edmonton, LA on Thursday night. I'd say a pretty complete game from an Oilers standpoint. Maybe LA certainly wanted a better result, but what were your impressions from what you saw from that game between the Oilers and the Kings, which may be, and I say may because Vegas is ahead of LA right now, a first-round matchup again for a third straight year?
I thought it was a game that LA never really threatened. Despite the lopsided numbers on the shot totals, Tom, I never felt like LA was I didn't think that Edmonton was in a bad spot at all. Other than that one flurry, I think at the end of the first period where Byfield, Kopitar, and Kempe had those 3 shots. I mean, other than that, I thought Edmonton played a great game and absolutely dominated. LA's better equipped to handle Edmonton than they were a year ago, but Edmonton's far better equipped to handle LA than they were a year ago. If this was maybe the Edmonton team of 2 years ago and the LA team of now, maybe it'd be a different story. But I'm still not sold on what's going on with Los Angeles.
Yeah, they like talking to the people around the. Dennis Bernstein was on the other day, and he says that yes, the Kings are still trying to be built to beat Edmonton. I don't think Edmonton's really thinking about the Kings all that much anymore. And I still look at the goaltending of the Kings and I'm like, it doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me, at least. Yeah. JD, is that a fair assessment?
I think it's a very fair assessment. I mean, I'm not going to the well with David Riddick and Cam Talbot. They'll have their moments, but there's just not. It's not, for a 7-game series. I just don't trust either one of those guys in a 7-game series. And so, it is a big concern. Now, look, they've been a better team with Victor Arvidsson in the lineup. It was their first loss in 8 games with Arvidsson in there. He lengthens that roster out. But and Pierre-Luc Dubois has been able to put up statistical numbers with Arvidsson in the lineup. But Tom, you got to watch it firsthand.
Yeah,
that's a major disappointment. There's no pushback in that guy's game. It's a guy that plays closer to 5'10" than 6+ feet. So I'm really not sure what to make of this LA Kings team right now. They're good when things are going well, but there's not a player that can elevate, that can carry this team on his back. No one's got Connor McDavid. There's no Nathan McKinnon. Quentin Byfield, I think, has been their best player from day one. And he's done his best, but there's just not a guy to me that can carry this team on his back. It's not the captain and it's not Drew Doughty, who are having better seasons.
Yeah. JD, does Vegas stay in that 3rd spot in the Pacific, or can LA catch them in these last 10 games here?
Well, LA's schedule, Tom, is very favorable. I mean, they've got a couple of games with Anaheim, they've got San Jose, they've got Seattle, they got Calgary on the schedule. So, if they can take advantage of that weak schedule, they should still finish 3rd. And I don't think Vegas would be too upset. I don't think Vegas cares who they play in round 1. Conversely, I don't think Edmonton cares who they play in round 1, to be honest with you. But I don't think that Vegas is so worried about it right now. Look, it's for Vegas. It's just about trying to get healthy. This is not a team that's had a healthy roster from day one. And I was in Vegas last weekend, Tom. Mark Stone, for anybody thinks that there's this conspiracy theory that he's going to play game 83, Tom, he's not even skating yet. At least Tom Turtle is skating. Mark Stone's not been on the ice yet.
Jonathan Davis joining us now here on the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, YouTube, Trev with you as well. Joaquin Gage standing by. He'll be joining us in about 10-15 minutes. And get your questions in. Text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up button as we kindly ask. And also you can get into the nasty chat. Oilers and Ducks for the 4th and final time this season. One more Western Conference question for you, JD, before we finally talk about listen, man, no disrespect to the Ducks, but it's the Ducks here. And they're on a terrible run, which you're going to give us the scoop on. But in the Western Conference, when we're talking about the playoffs starting in a couple of weeks, I've been calling the Western Conference a gauntlet. It doesn't matter who's facing who. I don't see any real favorable, easy matchups. How do you kind of handicap this Western Conference going into the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think that if you're the team in the Central, you do want to finish first. You don't want to have to play Winnipeg or Colorado in round 1, though. I'm not sold right now on Winnipeg as much as I was early on. We'll see what happens. Gabe Vilardi comes back. It will lengthen that roster out for sure, but they're definitely scuffling. I think every team's got a wart somewhere. Colorado's played. Love Colorado. The Georgiev-Shesterkin matchup on Thursday night was outstanding. What a phenomenal game to watch that night. But I'm still not sold on them. the Predators finally lost a regulation game. But if you look back through the numbers, UC Saros has given up 5 or more a lot, at least 6 or 7 times this year.
Right.
And for them, thank God they don't have to worry about playing Arizona in the playoffs because they lost 3 or 4.
What the hell was that, JD? What happened?
Tom, as a bettor, I was on Arizona that night. That was the sandwich game for me. It was,
okay.
You're coming off the big win against Vegas. You've got Colorado the game after. Arizona's been a place where they've now lost 3 straight games. They've lost 3 or 4 to them this year. There's just something about that matchup that doesn't work well. Now, as I said to a friend of mine that night, I said, look, this is the sandwich game. And then when Jason Zucker put him up 2-0, I said, I think I just ate a bad sandwich. But then things kind of turned around. Look, I think teams would rather play. Like, I think Vegas would like to play Vancouver in round 1. I don't think there's that same fear. You don't want to have to play Edmonton in round 1 and Connor and Leon. Let them get banged up, hopefully, a little bit after the first round. So I don't think that there's necessarily a dominant team. Everyone's got something special, something really good, but there is a negative. Look, even in Dallas with Jake Ottinger, there's been some struggles come playoff time. I love the Dallas roster. It's 1 through 18, they're really good. Can Jake Ottinger have a better playoff than he's had the last couple of years?
Good question. Jonathan Davis joining us now, host of the Ice Cap Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. 1-1 JD. The Panthers have tied it in what you dubbed appropriately so the Alex Lyon revenge match. 7 minutes left to play in the third period. So that's a good one to kick off a really, really busy day around the National Hockey League. 15 games on the sched. The Canucks get the day off. They get the Ducks tomorrow, and the Ducks are obviously here in Edmonton this afternoon, and that's who we're going to talk about now. This Anaheim team bringing it home, landing, I guess, for lack of a better term, rough landing to wrap up the season. 1-8-1 JD in their last 10, 1 win in their last 11 overall, I believe. What the heck's going on with Anaheim in another rough year?
Yeah, it really has been. It's been a struggle. It's been, I didn't expect it to go this bad. They got off to a nice start to the season, and then injuries started hitting this team that didn't have a big margin for error at all. So you lose Zegras for a period of time, you lose Killorn for a period of time, and for Trevor Zegras, like I think that game in Seattle a couple of nights ago just kind of typified where his season's been at. He smashes the camera in the penalty box. He gets benched for the last 8:25 of the third period in that one. It's 4 goals and 7 points in 27 games. This is a guy that, he signed that, the 3-year deal, just under $6 million a year, got into camp a little late. It hasn't been good. There have been some bright spots. Look, Frank Toronto's got 30 goals this year. He's the only guy, Tom, that's played every game for the Ducks this season. Now, he also hasn't scored a goal, I think, in his last 13. Radko Gudas. Gudas and Killorn were brought into this team to help guys like Zegras become pros, as we like to term it. It's been a really good year for Radko Gudas. He's the only player on this team that's a plus player this year. I think he's like a plus 12 or a plus 13. Killorn's numbers have been good. But, overall, it's been a struggle. Lucas Dostal has played well for the most part. It looks like, he will eventually supplant John Gibson if they're able to move that salary. But, look, it's still a team that is they're learning. And, Leo Carlson, they've been using the game management with him. Yeah. It's been, look, they're just trying to nurse him along. But the big thing for me is, what happens with Zegras? There's been so much talk around him. At the end of the day, he's not the guy that Pat Verbeek drafted, but he is the guy that Pat Verbeek did sign to a 3-year deal. And I think you need to win with different types of players. When you've got a guy who's that offensively skilled as Zegras, this is where you brought in and maybe, I'll call it overpaid for Gudas and Killorn, but you didn't bring them in for their production so much on the ice. Right. You brought them in to help the younger players on this team. So Zegras is project number 1 for them. And, look, this is, it's been an unfortunate lost season in many ways for this Anaheim team.
I was going to ask you, about Zegras and his future in Anaheim? Because I've heard some people say that maybe they look at trading him. What's your take on that? Is he going to be a pillar or is he going to be a piece?
Well, like I said, I think he needs to be a piece. Unless you're able to bring some sort of offense back. I mean, take a look what you've got. Troy Terry. Troy Terry. Coming off. It's been a bit of a struggle for Terry this year. But there's Terry's one guy. Mason McTavish has got 17 goals. He's already equaled last season's numbers. To me, McTavish will wear a letter on this team before the day is done. Now, do you keep Frank Vatrano? If you're not going to keep Frank Vatrano, then you need to find another way to provide yourself offense. Let's remember, Trevor Zegras had 23 goals and 65 points last year.
Yep.
Those are good numbers for a guy that stage in his career. It's been a struggle. That's why I say that you brought in Killorn and Gudas to work with a guy like Zegras. I just think there's too much talent. He's a guy that can help you win. You just have to be able to harness it. And yeah, there's some immaturity in his game. There's no question. But I think it's too soon to give up.
Yeah, that's why I found that interesting, because a year ago he is the focal point, the centerpiece, and McTavish is super young, and to me he's like a modern day Ryan Smith, just loves playing hockey, and that's all he cares about. And then you're right, like they have Troy Terry, who's been a pretty good NHLer the last few years, an all-star caliber player. Where does that leave a guy that's been a pillar and was a part of some great Ducks teams for quite some time in John Gibson? Because you mentioned Dostal. We've seen Dostal rob Draisaitl and McDavid. He had a great afternoon here last season. Where does that leave John Gibson, whose name has also been in trade rumors for some time?
Well, I think the problem in moving Gibson, one is salary and two is health. It's a big ticket. There's they're only, I think, 2 more years left after this one.
Yep.
So it makes it a little easier. But like, I just think that Anaheim's probably going to have to eat some money in that one. So we'll see where that one goes. I mean, I think Pittsburgh would have liked to have had him. It would have been, I'll tell you, this past summer could have been very interesting, because I know Carolina made a big push for Tristan Jarry, and they thought they had him, and they ended up having to settle for Freddie Anderson. And I think that and Freddie Anderson could have been in Pittsburgh, but so could have John Gibson. So I think that Anaheim would like to move him, but it's going to definitely require them eating salary. Dostal has proven that he can be the guy. I mean, look, he's got a .900 save percentage on a really bad team. Don't look at the goals against, which is about 3.5.
Yeah.
This is a guy that, stopped 50. He stopped 55 shots twice this year. He had that very impressive game against the Maple Leafs at home. This is the guy. It's just a matter of, can they move John Gibson?
Yeah, I just pulled up Gibson's contract. Like you said, a couple years left. He goes till the end of the 26-27 season, and he's at a $6.4 million AAV. So it'll be interesting to see. By the way, let's do a live score update. The Panthers have scored again. Just under 5 minutes left. JD, I don't know what's going on. Alex Lyon let another one in. Barkov gets it 2-1. The Panthers.
Hey, there's a spoiler. See, I'm on a little bit of a delay on my. I've got this Fire Stick here that allows me to watch everything, but I've got a bit of a delay. So when you told me it was 1-1, I heard it a few seconds later. By the way, looking rather sharp, Tom, for 12:57 Edmonton time.
It's the Easter log weekend. I only use this blazer every now and then because you can't wear it too often. And then the other thing too is I was doing our afternoon or our Saturday morning show, Hello Hockey, with Sean Bell on location, local public eatery, great spot on Jasper Avenue. I had to whip over here. Joaquin was already at my place. He's on the broadcast this afternoon. So it's just a hectic morning / afternoon, JD. And I'm like, all right, I have to do the wardrobe change. I got to get set up at the home studio. We made it work. It's organized chaos. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you made it work. I'm just saying, like, thank God I put on a dress shirt for you. I mean, if I came in like a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, I would have oh my God, I got to make the quick run upstairs to the bedroom. But no, that's looking dapper there.
Hey, we're styling and profiling on the Oil Stream pregame show. I appreciate it. You look great as always, my friend. But a team that doesn't look great is the Anaheim Ducks going into this one, limping in. They beat the Blackhawks a few games ago. That was their lone win in the last 11. when this team, JD, is playing well, what's clicking for them? What will the Oilers have to look out for this afternoon?
Oh God, Tom, really? There's what's clicking?
I'm trying to be positive here.
I mean, by the way, it is 2-1 on my TV.
Okay,
now,
good. I wasn't lying.
Yeah. I don't know. It means that Frank Vetrano's, got a hat, registered a hat trick today. Like that, Lucas Dostal is standing on his head like you guys saw in a game last season.
Yep.
It's a lot of praying, Tom, right now. I mean, we're in those days where, look, I think it wouldn't shock me if a lot of guys have already like planned their trips to Cabo. I don't want to be cruel, but I just think it's reality. I saw the same thing in Columbus, when Columbus played in Vegas last weekend. That team, man, they kind of checked out. They were in a tight game, and Vegas had their, Aiden Hill gets hurt, and Logan Thompson comes in, and Columbus gets 3 shots on goal in the third period. That's embarrassing. So, for Edmonton, this is where you just want to you got to just take the will away from Anaheim right from the get-go. You can't have the game. That game, Tom, the last time that these two teams met, that game in Anaheim on a Friday night, Edmonton had to work way too hard that night for a victory. I think they scored 3 in the third period that night. They worked so hard that night that, they got blanked by LA the next night. I thought, and I was saying to people, this is a scheduled loss for Edmonton because those guys were gassed after that game Friday. So take the will away from Anaheim. Don't give them any reason to believe that they've got a chance to win this one. But Anaheim's going to need Lucas Dostal to stand on his head. That's pretty much it.
We'll see if he can do that today. Hey, JD, I know you bounce around the West Coast and you're in and around the Kings and the Ducks, but what's your sense of Ducks fans with this team right now? Can you pick up on that a little bit and give us an idea of are they indifferent now?
I think it's indifferent right now. It's hard. It's hard to go out and watch this team. Early on in the year, there was a lot of reason for hope. It was exciting. It was fun to be at games. Right now, you're going to go to a Ducks game and you're going to go see who they're playing, and it's more about the opposition,
right?
Because I think that it's just you're in a stretch right now, as you pointed out. I mean, they've lost 10 of 11. I think really it's a matter of you got to be a hardcore hockey fan right now, I would think, to want to go out and see this team.
Yeah,
it's tough sledding, and so look, Vancouver's coming into town this week, and so if you want to go watch the Canucks and PD play, that's a good thing, But that's really it. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard right now.
Yeah. We've seen that here in Edmonton. I want to float one more to you. A guy that you watched a lot was Corey Perry as a Duck, and obviously a Hall of Fame career, but he had his 1300th game the other night against LA. He was celebrated on the Jumbotron in the arena, got a really nice ovation from Oilers fans. And the funniest reply I got to that tweet was, I've liked him for 26 of 1300 games, and that's his time as a member of the Oilers. He's been a very good Oiler, I have to say. Does that surprise you at his age and where he's at in his career?
No, it doesn't surprise me. And look, game 1299 tells you all you need to know about Corey Perry, because 1299, he had the stones to drop the mitts with Logan Stanley.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot, tells you all you need to know about Corey Perry and what what it means to him and how he views his role in this team. Look, he knows whether he gets 8 minutes, 10 minutes a night, may get the odd power play time. This is a guy, he wants to win another cup, and he's found a way, to be that guy, to be that glue guy. That's why I talk about this roster is so better constructed now than it was a year or two ago when you added guys, like Perry, and then you add Henrique. And man, Corey Perry and Evander Kane on the same team, there's two salty guys.
Yeah.
But there's no question that having a guy like Perry who's been there before, who's won cups, you can't minimize what that means to a team. And the fact, Tom, he's still an effective hockey player. That. The bottom line is he can still play. It's not like Ryan Reeves in Toronto, who's not likely to see the ice come playoff time, or very little come playoff time. Corey Perry is going to see the ice, and he will have his 8 to 10 minutes, and they'll be meaningful minutes. And there's a difference. So I think this has been a great pickup by Ken Holland.
Let's see how it goes into the stretch, the final, weeks of the season. JD, awesome as always. Great to have you on. We'll catch up with you again soon, my friend.
All right, you didn't tell me 2-2. I didn't get the spoiler.
I didn't want to spoil it. 2-2. the Alex Lyon revenge game continues. So we've got a good one in South Florida between the Wings and the Panthers. We've got a good one in Jonathan Davis, as always. Thank you, sir.
All right, Dapper man. We'll talk soon.
All right, there is JD, Jonathan Davis. You can catch him hosting the Ice Cap on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. And then if you're into the betting side of things, he also has a show there, Show Me the Money Hockey Betting Podcast. Simply put, follow him on X, West Coast Hockey spelled HKY. Great information, as always, from JD. All right, next up, 780-218-9999. And then via the Nasty Chat, if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, it's the Oilers and the Ducks, 2 o'clock face-off, and we'll get you set right away with Joaquin Gage filling in for Matty Cassian. I'm going to get to a couple of texts. We'll go inside the Oilers locker room really quickly, and then we'll get to Gager. Jay says, Brother Tom, looking dapper today. Happy Easter. You go, buddy. Thank you, Jay. Happy Easter to you as well. And then Jocelyn says, Happy Easter, Tom, YTT, and all the nasties. Go Oilers, go Canes. Thank you, Jocelyn. Likewise. This one from Windermere Matt says, guys, let's just see a good effort. Don't have to win 10-2. Let's just have a good, solid effort after a big, hard-fought, well-played, mature outing against LA. Simple as that. Great job, as always, EST crew. Let's go Oilers. Thank you, Windermere Matt. Get those texts in. 7-218-9999. YouTube, Trev, let's say we go inside the Oilers locker room. Do you want to start with Warren Fogle? Can we do that?
Absolutely, we can do that. Tommy, here is Warren Fogle.
Say his last name. Kahan. Are you a fan? Well, Connor and Leon got to meet him.
I only know a few of his songs. I'm not very good with artists. Usually I'm just like, oh yeah, I know that song kind of thing. So yeah, now I know who it is, but yeah, I don't know.
Is there a musician or non-sports celebrity that you would like to meet?
I don't know. That's such a tough question. I'm vibing with T Swift right now.
Okay.
I'm part of the Swifties now. My first concert was a T Swift concert, funny enough, when I was 14 or something. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with T Swift for now. But I like country. I think anything is actually country, like Luke Combs. But yeah, no, I'll ride with T Swift right now.
Was it in Toronto you saw her, or where was it?
Yeah. It was a double date with a buddy, so I kind of had to go.
What's your?
I have no clue. This is I was in grade 9, or grade 8. No, grade 8. Yeah, that was years ago.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was not.
Thanks for indulging us with that. From the hockey stuff, you've played a few games on a line with Henrique. I mean, I know you played with Leon a lot, but what are you learning about Adam now?
Yeah, super smart player. He's always in the right areas, and super skilled as well. And it's nice to see him get rewarded going to the blue paint, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thought that as that game wore on, I thought especially the second half of this second period was maybe as well as you guys have played, just line after line, just keeping them hemmed in.
Yeah, I thought, we utilized our speed. We were playing much quicker, I think, in the second, putting them on their heels, and, I think that's a strength for us. And when we're playing fast, moving the puck quick, it's hard to defend.
You've seen you playing against the lineup in a lot of different places. No matter where you are making an impact playing a lot that helps this group. How have you seen yourself grow this season?
Yeah, just probably being more consistent. I have a great support staff at home and here with the team, and just for myself, it's just moving my feet and always working hard, and it's something I wanted to take more pride in this year, and it's starting to pay dividends.
All right, there's Warren Fogle speaking to the media yesterday after the Oilers skate. They had Noah Kahn. They met him. I've only seen him on SNL, so and I liked it, but I'm sure, and I saw a lot of posts from last night. Looked like a really good concert. So there you go. And he's a Swiftie, apparently, that Warren Fogle. All right, let's get our game analyst in for today's Oilers Ducks matchup. It is Joaquin Gage. Hello, looking dapper, Gager. Live on location from my kitchen where we did the pre and post game, little pregame show when Dennis Bernstein and Dave Pagnotta were here. You're on the broadcast today. You look very good as usual, fresh, ready to rock. What's going on, Gager? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just looking forward to a game that hopefully it means a little bit more than to the Oilers about playing this type of game that they finished against the Kings. And, who knows what it's going to look like at the end of all this. You're trying to look at like placings, who you're going to match up in the first round, grabbing that home ice advantage. To tell you the truth, I don't think it means a lot against the Kings. But then again, if you are going to play the Golden Knights in the first round, I think it means a little bit more because, as you know, Tommy, that building gives those guys a little bit more juice, so to speak, and especially in a playoff atmosphere.
100% it does. It is one of the best, most electric buildings to go watch a game at, regardless of if you're a fan of the Golden Knights or not, or maybe you're watching, say you're an Edmonton fan, you go down there to watch the Oilers. Like it could be the Anaheim Ducks, quite frankly, going in to play the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas, and it's going to be a great experience in terms of the game. Who knows? But experience-wise, and that building has an excellent vibe. All right, let's get to Game Changers with Joaquin Gage, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven. Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Gager, where to first on Game Changers?
Well, I think just listening to Warren Fogle, it's the first one is play with speed. You saw what it did to a Kings team and that likes to sit back. I think you heard for over the course of a few days how they like to play that 1-3-1 kind of system. The Oilers really defeated that, where their game management was at a point. If they didn't have anything, they made the D turn and got on them quickly. Their decision making was fast. So really doing that against the Ducks with when you look at their defensemen, I think if the Oilers can establish that, they attack with speed and they like to get the line and set things up. But I loved the decision making with the Oilers last game when they didn't have something to make it a lot difficult, make the D-men turn, having them go back and constantly pressure. And that second period was phenomenal last game.
Yeah, really well played game. Almost a complete game. Obviously there's going to be blips and momentum changes. LA is going to push a little bit because of how much it meant to them as well. Gager, in terms of, and this stands out to me. It resonated when you said it. I think it was a couple months ago. You always look for that first 10 minutes to see how the outlet passes are, if they're crisp. I'm paraphrasing. You can correct me if I'm wrong or mistaken, but you said if the passes are crisp, especially from the D-man out to get out of the zone, that's when you can tell Edmonton's going to have a good game. And if they're not, if they're bobbling them, if they're sloppy, that's when it's going to be a rough and tough game because it's a bad omen. Are you still of the mind that is kind of Edmonton's MO, or have they adapted in the last month or two?
Well, you've seen the games that they've played well in. That first pass is crisp. The decision making's quick. It kind of gets to my second game changer, Tom. It's play chess, not checkers with the Ducks today. Know what your decision is going to be before you make it, right? Like I looked to a few instances, and I know I was really tough on Vinny Desharnais last game in our text line. But I really thought that he was a step behind with his decision making from where it was at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. It seemed like he knew what he was going to do with the puck before he got it. And now you see sometimes he's a little bit hesitant. And at this time of year, Tommy, you can't. You got to know what your options are even before without looking, right? And you've played enough with one another. You know the systems. His processor has to be at a higher level because the speed is just going to ramp up further and further and further.
Gager, I know Dusty loves talking about getting Troy Stetcher in there, and I think it's pretty clear from what we see from the coaching staff that Desharnais still ahead of Stetcher in the pecking order. Does that concern you? Are you in agreement with Dusty that Stetcher should be playing, or how do you look at this scenario? And do you think that Vinny Desharnais can still elevate his speed and processor and all of that? Like, where do you stand in the grand scheme of things on the back end here?
On Stetcher, I haven't seen enough, Tommy. Maybe the reason why I said Desharnais to come out is because I want to see Stetcher a little bit more and see what he's capable of. Mm-hmm. Especially in a game, if you get into a late season game when it doesn't really matter. I would have rather have seen him actually play against the Kings and see, because the Kings usually are a little bit more of a buzzsaw with on their forward check. But as for Desharnais, I think he's capable of it. We've seen it before where his, like I said, his decision making is at a really good level. He's not as quick with his feet, but we've seen progress with there. It's not like he's getting beat out of the corner and the game doesn't look too fast for him. But there's just times that I think the decision-making skills, and it's hard. Like I said, the NHL at a level right now, if you go back and you have an old PVR game saved, watch that game and watch it. It's completely different with the speed at which these guys play. Even a team like the Ducks, this is it's not going to be an easy task at all for the Oilers this afternoon.
Joaquin Gage joining us now here on the Oil Stream pregame show. It is Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was play with speed. Number 2, Gager says play chess, not checkers. Number 3, Gager, where are we going here?
We want to see good goaltending, Tommy. Last game didn't go so well for Pickard. I'd like to see him bounce back with a really solid performance, make some key saves. History shows us that after the Oilers play a game at a high emotional level, there is a little bit of a letdown the next game.
Yes.
And it does depend on the competition. I'm not a fan of this game. I don't think it lines up great just because of the emotional level that the Oilers played with. The execution level was so high. And that now you're playing against a team where, essentially you should be able to throw your sticks out there and get the victory.
Yes.
You still got to put in the work but it's just that emotional letdown. They have to focus on, I know they all say we've got to focus on ourselves first, but if we look to, there was a lot of times when it seemed like the Oilers were, as a boxer coming in and just feeling it out for the first 10, 15 minutes. I don't want to see that tonight. I want them to establish their top game in that first 10 minutes. Like, another team's coming in to your building, your house. You got a chance to solidify at least a home ice advantage in that first round. I don't go out there and feel the game and see how this afternoon's going to go. Go out there and take it in that first 10 minutes. Don't give them a reason to stick around.
Belzy on Hello Hockey says he views this as a trap game. I was a bit surprised that he said that. How would you react to his thought on today's game?
I agree with him. He's a smart individual. He knows what he's talking about. Maybe I told him this before. I don't know, but no, I hate these games with the Oilers. It's tough, especially this time of year, Tommy. You hear them talk about stay in the moment, and we gotta take this like into little sections. But it's hard not to look to the future and know that you're so close to the real important stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So they're racehorses in the stables, ready to roll here. I'm sure if you asked a guy to a man right now, they'd say, let's just start the playoffs. Forget these last 10 games. This is enough. Let's do this. So, that's where the Oilers are at right now. So there's still stuff to play for. Obviously, Connor, 100 assists, home ice advantage. But against the Ducks, I don't like how it lines up, especially how last game went and the competition that they faced.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I really do. I do think maybe they're in the right mindset after a couple of solid performances. You talk about the emotional high, beating the Kings. I thought they put together a really good game in Winnipeg. Obviously, get the outcome there against the a Jets team that's struggling now, but still has a lot of great players and should be right in the mix when it comes to contention, could go on a great run. Last weekend, Gager, I don't think I chewed on it with you in Toronto and Ottawa. Like, did those performances worry you, or could you see this team easily getting something like that out of the way and in the rearview mirror and out of their mind?
Yeah, the Oilers are a mature team now. A few years ago that could have the losing streak could have progressed a little bit. They've been able to halt poor play and following it up with a good performance pretty quick. The old adage, as a team, you don't lose 2 in a row. That was that kind of mantra that I wasn't too worried. Again, this time of year, it becomes very difficult because you know how close you are. And the Oilers are in the playoffs. Like they're not battling, tooth and nail, which I like to an extent. But it's also nice to just have that little push from your opponents to play at a little bit higher level, because it's not a switch. It's very hard to turn that on, and you don't want to be 2 periods behind game 1, right? And give the team a leg up in a series, and because we all know what the Oilers' records are in game 1 of playoff series over the last few years.
Not particularly great. What was it? Anaheim in 17, where they won the last game 1. So we'll see if they can change that this year when they do get to the postseason. 10 games remain still, or is it 11? This is game number 72 tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. So
yeah, it is. So there we go. 11 games remaining. I want to get to a couple of nasty chats, and then I want to get some thoughts on Gager on something else. So let's go to the nasty chat right now. This one from Eric says, I hope we see Nurse Stetcher. Zulu says, you need to give Stetcher more looks down the stretch. And then Jen says, happy Easter all, just getting turkey dinner prepared. Go Oil. Yeah, there we go. Are you making anything for Easter? Are you cooking up a brisket? I know Matty Cassian is got the smoker going, but what do you?
Yeah, Cass one up me again. I showed my we were showing our meat in the text there with my pork and what did he do? A couple shoulders, I think, and then he put the real nice charcoal seasoning on there.
Yeah.
That's next level. But no, I probably just make I whip together a buffalo chicken dip for chips for appetizers. My in-laws are going nuts for tomorrow night, so it'll be a feast.
Belzy was kind of getting annoyed. He was saying, what are we just showing our meat to everybody? And I was like, Belzy, relax. Yeah. Let's get over the show. Let's do Hello Hockey. And he's probably like 3 beers deep already, even though he's been off the air for an hour and 20 minutes. But he was like, what is this? What is this? And then speaking of meat, in the inbox from Box Pounder, it says Corey the Butcher at Acme Meats is an awesome dude. Advertising works, from Box Pounder. And he's got a great photo of Corey the Butcher. It looks like him and the crew are getting things going on a busy Saturday morning / afternoon. Yeah, and a big smile on his face. So advertising with us definitely works. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage with you here on the Oil Stream Pregame Show. YouTube, Trev holding things down back at EST Global HQ. Gager, you're on the broadcast today with my dear friend, our paisan, Gene Principe. Do you get nervous? Like, I know you do radio, you do our radio shows, you do Two Guys and a Goalie, so it's like it's different. But then you got to go and do the broadcast. Do you have a different approach on these game days? Like, tell us where you're at when you're on the panel and you're working with the paisan, Gene Principe, and then our dear friend and EST guest, Bob Stauffer.
No, absolutely petrified, Tommy. That's basically what I do. No, it's great working with Gene, but it's also difficult because I find myself like we're just chatty Cathy's up there, and talking about things. And I mean, he's so good that he's so quick with getting things going or taking the conversation a certain way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's not what we talked about before. Right. So you got to kind of be a little bit quick on your feet. Hopefully I don't stumble over my words too much, but I can always just go to my best friend Stoff, and we can dig into the encyclopedia there and get some obscure stats from, maybe there's a correlation between the U of A. Maybe I'll ask him about I'm forgetting the old U of A guy when the Ducks, I think he played with Korea too.
It's like
Centerman.
Brent Severin?
No, he was a big tall CIAU. Ruchin. There we go.
I got you.
Maybe I'll throw a little Ruchin trivia at Stoff and see what he comes up with.
He'll have something for
He'll
sure.
Have something.
I'll ask you this, Gager, because like when you go from a radio show like this, and then like even two guys in a goalie, where we don't run the commercials like we used to at the old shop, and we have these 15, 20, and like this show we do, long segments basically. Do you find you have to be quicker because you only have a couple minutes in those intermissions?
It's so fast. So you want to say something that's maybe a little bit different, but it's difficult because someone's talking in your ear. Yeah. You want to be quick. You want to be thoughtful of other guys too, of wanting to say something. You don't want to just bogart the whole time as well. But it happens really quick for what it is. Hopefully there's some good things to talk about during the play, but I'm sure if not, there's usually, some other side stories of what's going on. I'm sure that we'll probably touch on Hyman's great season at this point. If Connor does go nuts and starts closing in on this 100 assist season, I'm sure they'll have some graphic boards and stuff that we can discuss with what Connor's been able to accomplish. I mean, the guys. I don't know who I was talking to. I was talking to one of my buddies, and Connor is treating the NHL like a video game, and I really think
I agree.
I think he's just, I want to get 100 assists. You know how you play and you're playing a video game.
Yep.
Oh, I want to. This is a side quest for Red Dead Redemption of Connor McDavid. If he gets the 100 assists, he gets a special stick or something that can show off. That's what it's come to. I really hope he does it.
I think he will, and you're right. Yeah, I get the sense that he's just toying with the National Hockey League, which is ridiculous to think, but when you're that good, man, look out. So we'll see. Can he get 5 assists tonight? Maybe.
Maybe. Wouldn't put it past him.
No, exactly.
That's ridiculous to say.
All right, Gazzola and Gage with you. YouTube Trev holding things down back at EST HQ. We do have some news roster-wise in terms of a signing, and that's an extension for Olivier Rodrigue, who's having a pretty damn good year down in Bakersfield, and no more better of a person to talk goaltending with than Joaquin Gage right now. And if you're wondering what the deal is, it's a 1-year, 2-way extension for next season. Rodrigue is 23 years old, 6'1", 175 pounds, so he's wiry. 32 games this year for Baco. He's got a 17-10-4 record, 272 goals against average, 915 save percentage, and the 17 wins is a career high. For those that want to know when the Oilers got him, they drafted him back in 2018, 62nd overall, and in 85 AHL games over 4 years, 41, 34, and 8 is his record. 283 GAA, 908 save percentage for Rodrigue. His dad is the goalie coach down in Baco. Sly has been with the Oilers organization for quite some time. And I remember when Olivier was a young guy just making his way through, I believe, in the St. Albert system, or maybe that was Freddie Shabbat's. But the progression, Gager, and you know what it's like to battle your way up the ladder in an organization. You did it with the Oilers. What do you think it's like for a guy like Rodrigue, who's now 23 and gets this extension? What does this signal to Oilers fans and for the player?
Great for the player to get something done before the summer, right? And I think opportunity. Every goalie, you have to have a little bit of arrogance about you, thinking that you're getting close to being next in line. Mm-hmm. Who knows what happens with Calvin Pickard? I think he deserves another deal too.
Yep.
But it's funny now. I look at things differently over the past couple years, Tommy, with how you treat your prospects, and they're assets as well. Now you have to look at them that way, and his stats are showing that this could be a very valuable asset to maybe retool on the flies if looking at certain things or something that can be added into a deal. Of course, I mean, homegrown goaltenders are you don't see it that much, right? And I think like with Stuart Skinner, amazing. You have a arguably top 8 goaltender in the league with Stuart Skinner being homegrown. I think the last one was Devin Dubnyk, right? And he, although it didn't work out at the end, he was one of the top goaltenders in the league for a few years. So they have another one in Rodrigue, still quite young. I wouldn't like to see him backing up or in that type of role with the Oilers quite yet. But I think he can push people, and he's probably learning a lot from Jack Campbell, a guy that's been a pro for a very long time in the minors too, right? So he's gaining a little bit more experience there. I like it, but it's not just for Oiler fans. Don't go, oh, when is this guy going to be? Is he going to be in the net here? When is he going to take over? Things like that. You got to look at, maybe he can shore up something. Maybe you look at the draft for a more established right shot defenseman. Maybe he's part of the equation there, right? So you got to kind of take a page out of the Knights playbook, where I think they look at everything as an asset, right?
Oh, totally.
Whether they build it up in their own system, but they can get it to a point where, wow, there's probably people asking about him. I wouldn't put it past a lot of any other NHL teams seeing a good young goalie that could be available for their group.
And that's a testament to his hard work and determination, and he gets himself an extension. Olivier Rodrigue does 2-way deal for 1 year through next season. And I'm just going to say it. I think this is what's going to happen, Gager. I think they re-sign Pickard. They move on via trade from Jack Campbell. They'll have to obviously juice that up to have a team take his contract. They don't want dead cap space anymore. They're trying to get rid of that, especially when they're going to try to sign Leon and Connor coming up here. I know there's some people that think Leon's going to walk. I think Leon doesn't even know what he's going to do. That's just my 2 cents. But in goal, I think Rodrigue maybe, like you said, in a year or two gets a look as a backup to Stu Skinner. That's my kind of view of how this might play out. You think it's crazy?
No, and I mean, really, Tommy, you could say he's an injury away from being with the Oilers too.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe 60-40, it would probably be Campbell at that point. But he's close. And if you look at what happened with the Knights, who knows what happens, right? And at that point, you could fingers crossed it doesn't get to that. But you could see there's a possibility of injury through the playoffs and seeing a young guy get his shot when it matters most.
Hey, Vegas played Yuri Patera late in the season last year. And then they go and win a Stanley Cup with Aiden Hill. So it could happen. But a lot of people are talking about Rodrigue getting some games. Do you get him up this year when the Oilers were really struggling and the goaltending wasn't good? But that time will have to wait. But it's good to see him get rewarded with a 1-year extension, 2-way contract. Gage, are you going to stick around for a little bit if we run some audio?
Sure.
All right. That was Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. If you're looking to get into the market or sell your place, check out DamonBunting.com or on Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, YouTube, Trev. We do not have Chris Knobloch. They foregoed the availability today. I was looking at our daily media group chat. So let's get to Knobloch from yesterday following practice.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Tommy. I will grab that right after this. I thought we were getting the new one, so I didn't think. So is it okay? Let's do Sam Carrick first and then Knobloch.
Yes, we can do whatever you want, Trev.
Sorry about that, Tommy. Here is Sam Carrick.
What can you say about the opportunity to play your former team, your former teammates?
Yeah, for sure. Every game's an opportunity. Obviously, it's special playing against my old teammates, but I'm looking forward to it. Should be a fun game to see everyone, and should be good to get back in.
For you, you get traded here. You were excited to get traded here. There is sort of a bunch of guys on lines 3 and 4. So just how do you sort of deal with, in case sometimes it might be your turn to sit out like it was the last game?
Yeah, but we got a ton of depth, forward and D. So that's great. That's what you want. This time of year to have guys healthy and ready to go. So it's great. I mean, all you can do is just be a good teammate, cheer on your teammates, work hard, and our guys have done a great job. The guys that have gone in and out have come in and played really well. So it's definitely a positive thing, and something that I'm happy to be back in and looking to make an impact.
Sam, in your first week with the team, you're talking about how great this locker room and the presence in that room is. Now that you've been here for a little bit longer, how do you kind of describe it now, especially heading into the postseason in late April?
Yeah, it's good. It's we've got a very veteran team here. I think one of the older teams, if not the oldest in the league. So that's great. That helps a lot. A lot of guys that have gone on some deep playoff runs, and that shows for sure. A lot of poise in that room. No panic at all. So yeah, it's fun to be part of. I'm learning a ton from a lot of the guys, and I think everyone's super competitive in this room, and it's it doesn't matter if it's late March or first game of the playoffs. Every game it feels like it's a very important game, and we still got lots to play for till the end of the season here for standing. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been very serious and competitive, and it's been great.
I apologize for putting you on the spot here, but what have you learned most about this team on the ice and its its ability to deliver results?
Yeah, I mean, just the offense that this team can create is it's been super fun to watch. I obviously knew a little bit. Just everyone in the league knows what we have here in that locker room, what we can do offensively, and it's been fun to see how hard these guys work. Even on practice days, doesn't matter what it is. Our best players are always out there working harder and first on the ice, and it's something to take. There's a lot that you can take from that, and a lot you can learn from it. So it's been fun. There's a reason why they're that good, and obviously they work really hard. So it gives you a lot of inspiration.
Sam, this has been a whirlwind of a transition, no doubt, still. But have you had time to just sit back and think about the lifeline you've been given, just from where you were to where you are now, and when it comes to playoffs coming up?
Not really. I'm not trying to sit back and think too much right now. I'm just trying to go by each day. It's been busy for sure. When you do get a day off, it's good to rest and all that. But yeah, I'm not trying to sit back and just enjoy the ride. I'm trying to do what I can to help out. Make an impact, and they obviously brought me in for a reason, and I'm trying to justify that and just have a good impact on whether it's practice or whether I'm in the lineup or not. Just be a good teammate.
I guess the main thing is you now get to look beyond 11 games from the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. That's obviously it's in the back of our mind. It's what we're working for. It's what we play for. So it's exciting. You can feel the buzz for sure. You can feel the city of Edmonton is excited, and we're super excited. So it's gonna be fun.
Sam, it looks like a couple of little special guests here.
Yeah, they finally made it. So that's great. Had to find a house first to move into, and thankfully I was able to do that, and now got the family here, so it's super exciting to have them.
Does it feel like with the matchup tomorrow, now that they're here as well, just kind of all your worlds are colliding in a way?
For sure, when we first got traded, we kind of circled this date and said, okay, hopefully they can be here for this game. It's a 2:00 game, so that's good. The daytime games they can make. So I mean that's I'm glad it all worked out for sure. They couldn't be happier to be here back in Canada. So it's been fun for everyone.
All right, there's Sam Carrick, a goal and an assist through 8 games as a member of the Oilers. What does he have for penalty minutes? He's got a pile of them. He's made an impact. Joaquin Gage, he gets an opportunity to play against the whole team. Talking about having his family here in town, getting settled in, found a place to stay. How much does that help a guy, and how motivated do you think he'll be this afternoon playing against his old team?
Oh, it means the world, right? It's that whole whirlwind of, well, if you look at how they joined the team, right? They joined them on the road. Things didn't go great. Get back home, trying to acclimate yourself to the city. He said the days off were probably busier than the game days with trying to get everything set up, get the house ready, get the family. And so now you can finally just, sit down, take a deep breath, and really know you can really zero in on just hockey right now. People don't realize, like, and I've seen it firsthand with families, especially when I was a young player, seeing the toll it took on guys like Bill Ranford, Tommy. He was crushed sometimes on the road. I mean, we would be gone for 2-3 weeks, but his kids were quite young, right? And he was on the phone every night talking to his wife and his kids. Like, he was a really devout husband and good family guy. And so yeah, it's nice to see. I'm sure he's a lot happier. I bet you'll see even a different side of him in the game tonight. Just knowing that everything's kind of settled and things like that, that means the world. Especially, with you don't want to be messing around with kind of that stuff 11 games from now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Carrick back in action, anticipating him being on the fourth line, centering Janmark and either Brown or Ryan. We'll get to the lines when we have them from warm-up. Don't anticipate much change from the other night. That would mean we'd see Nugent Hopkins and Hyman with McDavid down the middle, then Draisaitl with Henrique and Fogle. That line had some good looks. I liked Kane and Perry with McLeod centering them. And then we'll see if CC is good to go. He was a little bit under the weather yesterday at practice. Stetcher was filling in his spot with Darnell Nurse. And then Ekholm Bouchard, Kulak, Desharnais. When we get lines and combos, we will give those to you. But that's how they skated yesterday. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room from yesterday. Chris Knobloch is ready because YouTube Trev is quick and excellent at his job, even though he didn't have it. I'm just kidding. Let's go to Chris Knobloch, Trev.
He's the most famous person you've ever met.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I don't know. I can't.
To meet a musician or anything in all your travels?
No, if I say somebody, I've met some famous people but I'm gonna forget somebody else, so I'm not gonna go there because I'm gonna embarrass myself.
You're from Saskatchewan, and you don't have a Saskatchewan. Country singer from Saskatchewan. Is that all they play in Saskatchewan?
I don't know any country singers in Saskatchewan.
What's that?
I actually don't know any country singers in Saskatchewan.
All right, I was just going to ask, to move on to hockey. Sorry, Reed.
Go ahead.
How do you build off last night's game? That was on the short list of one of your better games of the year. You're playing an opponent that, obviously doesn't have playoff aspirations. How do you kind of not, fall into a lull a little bit?
Yeah, we should feel really good about how we played, how well we checked, the intensity of our game. It was a very playoff-like atmosphere. Our forwards did a heck of a job reloading, getting above their checks. I thought we were committed through the neutral zone. Very limited turnovers in that situation. Would have liked to create a little more offensively, but you have to take what they give, and they didn't give us very much. And I definitely liked the effort from our team.
So it could be a trap game, though, right? You got to kind of make your players a bit aware of that kind of scenario.
Yeah, no, like we saw it after the Boston game where we played so well, and then the next day, Columbus, we fell up short, and we need to make sure that we're consistent at a high level, and hopefully we match the effort that we had last game.
Sam Carrick has sat out the last couple. Obviously, his former team. Do you want to get him back in tomorrow?
Absolutely. Sam will be playing tomorrow, and then we'll make a decision on who comes out, but Sam will be playing tomorrow.
Any update about Cody Ceci?
Cody's just at home sick, and he'll be a game time decision tomorrow.
Coach, in your experience, what is it like when players play their former teams, like these couple of guys are going to tomorrow?
I'm sure it's emotional. We've got a lot of friends on that team. Obviously, just because you get traded to a new team doesn't make them enemies right away. As much as a coach would like to say, let's turn the page and let's move on, but it doesn't happen. I think it's a lot of pride because you want to put on a good effort and you play your best. And hopefully, our two guys can do that tomorrow.
All right, there was Chris Knobloch talking about Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick. We didn't even talk about Henrique. We heard from Carrick. We didn't talk about Henrique. What are you noticing about him? Does he, Gager, look like he's starting to find his groove with this Oilers team?
A little bit more, Tommy. I think he's seeing what to be successful with this team, and that's probably the hardest thing for Henrique coming to this to the Edmonton Oilers. Like, you heard, getting up to speed with how the Oilers play, right? That was going to be their biggest challenge, and Adam Henrique's a very, very smart hockey player. So I think he looks a little bit more comfortable out there. I think there's still a few more gears, Tommy.
Yeah.
I think there's something there's definitely, I've in years past when I've watched Adam Henrique, I've seen him do some pretty amazing things on the ice. Like, he is the prototypical full 200-foot player, responsible both ends, and if you don't watch yourself, he's a good offensive player too. So I want to see more. Hopefully we can. He gets a little bit more comfortable and is really hitting his stride come game 83.
Adam Henrique is well on his way to a 50-point season. He scored an interesting goal off of his chest. Hey, man, they all count. Like, I know Cam Talbot was. I saw Cam like shaking his head, like, what the hell just happened? But they all count. Do you like Henrique more at center, on the wing, or it doesn't matter? Because it was interesting to hear Chris Knobloch say, depending on the matchup, Henrique's going to be our third-line center. But if I don't like him at center in a particular game, I'm putting him second-line left wing. What do you make of all of that?
I really think it depends on who they're playing against, Tommy, at that point, right? Like, I was interested last game to see the McLeod line go up against the Dubois line. Like, I wanted to see how that, and I would have to say that McLeod won the physical battle that night against him. That
surprisingly,
very surprisingly. But McLeod always does this. It seems like he shows glimpses of a little bit more sandpaper, and when he does, he's a very effective player. Yeah. And then having Henrique playing with Draisaitl, I think just because of the skill set and the hockey IQ, I think that it's great to have that option where you have a guy that can go play with one of the top players in the world and complement him, so to speak, right? So, but again, against the Kings, I liked the lineup. I loved the fact that you had Connor going up against Kopitar and getting away from Danault a little bit. If they do meet up in the playoffs, I'm sure that they'll try to get Danault up against Connor as much as possible. Just not that he does a really good job. He doesn't stop him, but he kind of he does a better job than most do against Connor McDavid. I guess that's how I would say it. Fair. But no, I like it's great. He's Adam Henrique is kind of a Swiss Army knife. You can that really responsible. It's another Nuge where you can slot him in almost anywhere, and you just have that real responsible player.
I like that. Well said, Gager. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage, YouTube Trev with you on the Oil Stream pregame show. You can text us 780-218-9999. And then Nasty Chat is going strong for this afternoon matchup against the Anaheim Ducks. We'll get to a few of those. We do have lineups for you. At least we do have goalies confirmed. And I've got the Ducks lineup and then the Oilers lineup. We know Sam Carrick is in, and we'll either see Connor Brown or Derek Ryan on the right side on the fourth line. Here are the lines for the Ducks this afternoon. You got Leo Carlson with Alex Killorn and Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras with Frank Vetrano and Ryan Strome, Mason McTavish with Lundestrom and Leeson, Bo Gruhl with Johnston and Silverberg. On defense for the Ducks this afternoon, Cam Fowler with Zellweger. I like Zellweger. Loved what he did in the World Juniors the past couple of years with Canada. Mintyukov paired up with Lindstrom. Lagesson, the former Oiler, William Lagesson with Urho Vakanainen. Great Finnish name there. And then you do have John Gibson starting between the pipes for the Ducks. So no Lucas Dostal. It will be Gibson, the 30-year-old. 13-25-2 on the season. 341 goals against average. 891 save percentage in 44 games. John Gibson versus Edmonton, lifetime 9-8-3 record, 336 GAA, 896 save percentage, 1 shutout in 22 appearances versus the Oil. And at the other end of the rink, 31-year-old Calvin Pickard starting for Edmonton, 10-5 record, 232 GAA, 913 save percentage, 1 shutout in 17 games this year. And Pickard versus the Ducks, a 2-2 record, 3-0-2 GAA, 9-0-3 save percentage in 4 appearances versus Anaheim. Gager, the Ducks celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. I think you came in right when they were in their infancy. So 93, 94 was their first year, 94, 95, the lockout season. The lockout season was when you got your first look with the team, right?
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
Did you get to Anaheim early on? Do you remember anything about them coming into the league?
Yeah, I do, because they were, let's face it, Edmonton at this point, everyone's a little bit pasty, Tommy. And I remember we were playing the Ducks late in the season, and they were all they looked so healthy and good. You know, they were all tanned up. That's the one thing I took away from. But got to play. I played against the Ducks quite a bit, actually. And my childhood nemesis, Paul Correa.
Yes.
Playing against Paul. What a whale of a hockey player. Played a little bit in that building's quite special. With it seemed like they just had a lot of marble left over.
They do.
It was the fanciest dress, like visiting dressing room at that point, because we were still playing in some old buildings, and that was like, it was nicer than your home dressing room, right? So there wasn't, but no, good memories of playing against the Ducks. It was always kind of fun.
30 years, it's crazy. You know, time is undefeated. Father Time's undefeated. I think that's the saying. But I remember when Mighty Ducks, the movie, came out, the Disney movie, and then they announced Mighty Ducks, the team, and then the D2 came out, and the Ducks from the movie wore the Ducks from the NHL uniforms, and then D3, Paul Correa was in it as an analyst when they went to college. But that arena, the Honda Center now, still called the Pond. That's its nickname. It does have a crazy amount of marble, because the story is it came in under budget, and they had like $25 million in extra cash, and they spent it on marble. There's marble ever. It's beautiful. It's well maintained. You're right. The locker room for the visiting team was great. I think they even refurbished it a year or two ago, and it's a forgotten franchise too. That's why I asked Jonathan Davis a little bit about where the fans are at, because they've got the shadow of the Kings. There's so many sports franchises there, but you get out to Anaheim, you're by Disneyland. It's a beautiful arena that's been really well maintained, and the team sucks. And they kind of fall by the wayside now.
Well, I think when they first, if memory serves me correctly, when they first kind of came into the league, their marketing was what Vegas did, right? Come to Vegas and watch your team play the Knights. So and so it was like, okay, yeah, family trip. You go take the kids to Disneyland, catch your team, like a hockey game as well. That's kind of what but they were good too. Like they weren't, I mean, it was different with expansion teams there, but they were quite competitive. And of course, they in a few years they drafted well. I mean, Perry, Getzlaff were a deadly combination back in the day, and they brought a cup to Anaheim. So, I mean, they did have a little help on the back end with Niedermeyer and Pronger, but come on, Jesus, that was. But they went to the finals against the New Jersey Devils when he lost in Game 7. Giguère was unbelievable, that whole playoff series. They've been able to establish some good hockey history, I think, which benefits them, because, looking at their lineup, they have some interesting players in a few seasons of where they're going to be, but they have to do a better job of, you asked, the question is Zegras a pillar or an asset? I'd have to look at him as more of an asset at this point, right? Like you have to, and you got to rebuild the franchise quick, because hockey fans in the U.S., especially in a market in California like they have really short memories, right? So you got to be competitive sooner rather than later.
Winning changes everything. That is for sure down there in a very competitive market. All right, Gage, we're going to wrap up with a few texts. I'm going to go to the nasty chat first. Morgan says 6 points back of Vancouver with 2 games in hand. This team could win out and take the Pacific. Let's go, Oilers. Where do you think the Oilers go with this in the last stretch of games here? And they do have the Canucks for one more, and the Canucks have mopped the floor with them in 3 games, which were early in the season.
Yeah, I mean they were on different planets, those 2 teams at that point, so you can't really look at it. That's a game where I'm really looking forward to see that matchup again and get a little bit of revenge, hopefully for the Edmonton Oilers. But it's a possibility, Tommy. You just got to take care of your business, and this afternoon's a perfect example of hopefully getting closer to that. To taking over first in the Pacific. It's going to be difficult. I don't think they can do it. 6 points at this point. It's a lot. Like you're gonna have to have some luck on the other side, or if you're scoreboard watching, someone's going to have to do a little bit of the work for you, and you're going to have to take care of all your business. So it's going to be, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities, I think. And when you look at it. And who they're going to play first, the Pacific, pick your poison.
No kidding.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So you're saying there's a chance, Joaquin. I love it. All right, couple of texts and we'll call it a day for the pregame show. The Wolf says, Hyman's motto for this year, forecheck, backcheck, paycheck from the Wolf. Oh, the Wolf also sending in his picture wearing his AM Nasty number 6 reverse retro jersey, looking sharp. The Wolf. Timber Woodsman says Connor is getting 5 apples this afternoon. I like that positivity. Rowdy Roddy, holy Rowdy Roddy, good to hear from him. Hey boys, Tommy Gage, awesome watching you guys on YouTube doing a turkey on the pellet grill, waiting for the game. Long time since I texted you guys. Cheers, boys. Happy Easter, Rowdy Roddy. Great to hear from you. RBM texting it says YTT, quit apologizing to Tommy. Because Shoggy's always on time. Tommy's always late, too. Oh, I love it. Jeff in YYZ, picture of some 6 o'clocker lager, says, in Alberta for Easter weekend, finally get to try 6 o'clocker lager while watching the Oilers game. Go Oilers, go. Jeff in YYZ, love it. Gager is our beer connoisseur. If it's not Scott Laurie, old Redbeard, Gager is our go-to guy when it comes to beer. You would say what about the flavor profile of our 6 o'clocker lager?
I was the first one to try it, and it was surprising. I'm not a huge lager guy.
Right.
I didn't know what to expect, but it surpassed all expectations. It's a fantastic beer, especially at a 2:00 afternoon Edmonton Oilers game, nicely chilled. Maybe even throw that mug into the freezer, Tommy, and let it just get a little frosty before you pour that bad boy in there. That's what I would have probably, if I was home for this. That's what I'd be doing for puck drop. That's
a veteran move from a seasoned pro. Joaquin Gage, great stuff, affiliated for Cast today. We'll catch you on the postgame show. Have a great broadcast, my friend. Catch Gager on the Sportsnet broadcast. Thank you as always, sir.
No problem, buddy.
That's going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. For Joaquin, I'm Tom Gazzola, and for YouTube Trev, I should say. Enjoy the Oilers versus the Ducks. We'll catch you on the postgame show. Ciao for now.